failed. Technical issues, and I guess we're gonna roll with it this way. All right. Good evening, everybody. I've got Cameron and Mario on the line with us tonight, so we can start digging into this. We had a little bit of a hiccup there. The first attempt at the stream, the original scheduled stream failed. But we're going to go ahead and get started, and hopefully everybody finds their way over here from the failed streams. I wasn't able to delete them yet, and I'm a little aggravated about that. But
oh no, we've got viewers stranded in a dead stream, and they don't know how to get out. They're just sitting there waiting. They're sitting there waiting and cursing us for a no-show. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Chris, I was watching the intro, and I noticed a bit of symmetry as it was going on. You were directing me when I was covered in blood, and I was directing you when you flashed your pistol. So it's not just both of us. You know, there's that behind the scenes symmetry that's not planned. I realize, you picked that picture and froze it right there with that look on my face because you're trying to be funny, but still.
And it is funny. It's hilarious. It's especially hilarious for anybody who's actually seen the short film that comes from.
I'm sure the audience was keenly aware of your directorial majesty. Yeah.
Well, and so I'm going to have to edit that and to put a fade on the end of it, shorten it up, put a fade on the end of it.
Now, what needs to happen? What needs to happen is I need to get my ass.
Mario, hang on. So when I do that, I've still got the original raw footage from Cabin Fever. So I think I'm gonna grab the clip of you falling down the stairs and then looking straight into the camera to add you to that mix.
That'll work. Yeah.
But then it'll lose the symmetry because I was in the director's chair for that one too. We need to set up a round robin thing where I direct you, you direct Mario, Mario directs me. Then it'll be mimetic.
I think
it'd be like the Spider-Man meme, but with cameras.
Yes, that's correct, audience. Cameron is so desperate for directorial accolades that he has to give you a director's cut with commentary of an intro scene. That's what
I'm comfortable with that.
Look, I like being director. I didn't know how much I would like it till I was.
I didn't know I liked being an actor, but I really like that as well.
I was pleasantly surprised at how very good you were at acting, especially the whole falling down the stairs thing. That really did something for my soul.
I am a character, so I guess it comes naturally.
So, before we get started on the Ukraine stuff and Trump and Vance and the knife hand that bought my vote, I've got a little something to share with you guys. As many of you know, over the last several days, I was trying to hit that last goal, the 30 hours and 30 days to get us into the Rumble Creator Program, right? So I just want to share a little something with you. Boom, baby.
Nice. Maybe that's why the original stream crashed. Like every single person that hit their 30-day mark is like, oh, we need to go live and talk about what happened with ZZ Tracksuit. Like that'll be great.
I thought it was something more nefarious. I thought it was congratulations for meeting you met your bench down.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Well, and so part of the program, now I have access to this. Okay, too many things. Let me show you the other thing. Boom, ba-doom, boom. So now I have the creator, the frickin' brand kit with all the official correct font, everything for whatever production we need it for. So I have the whole brand kit now.
Boy, this is so riveting. It could repair a bridge.
Which is which is awesome. But guys, we did a thing, right? We did a thing, and I'm happy about it. I can't wait to see what it means for us as a channel, and whether or not I get to make Mario and Cameron quit their day jobs. Hell, I might quit my day job since I have one of those again.
I'm curious.
AC says, "Congrats, AC. Did you get yours? Did you make your hours?" Let me know if you made your hours. And yes. So that said, guys, where do you want to start? Do you want to just watch the clip and discuss it, or start with Mario's history lesson?
Perhaps the last 10 minutes of it you could, but I had one quick question for you. Do you get the little the green rectangle, like the little Minecraft exploding man like thing to put on your desk, like all the other Rumble creators have?
Ooh, no.
You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? The pickle that you get to put on your desk. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see anything about that in the email. So
okay.
That would be awesome.
Yes, it would be awesome.
Maybe I'll have to order one. So, you want to start with let's just watch the video. Let's watch the clip, and it is the last
10 minutes of it. Yeah, it's 40 minutes.
7.5 minutes, or 7 minutes. And we're not going to watch the whole thing straight through. We're gonna, I'll pause it periodically, and we'll discuss what we're seeing. But here we go. Let's do this.
This hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. One more question.
I could be so tough, but you're never going to get a deal that way. So Trump's a negotiator. And he's coming in on the heels of just a straight up puppet of the leftist communist military industrial complex. Guys, with the exception of Trump and Vance and a very tiny handful of Republicans, our entire elected body wants a war. We need to give Ukraine everything that they want. Y'all, they got rid of Neville Chamberlain because the appeasement strategy did not work with the Nazis, because it just made the problem worse. And what we have in the current American government, with the exception of the recently returned Donald Trump, is essentially Neville Chamberlain trying to play the appeasement game with our so-called allies. What they're doing, there is no war in Ukraine without the U.S. It really is that simple. There is no war in Ukraine without the U.S. And what do I mean by that? I actually mean a couple of things by that. When Trump was in office, for the first time in Putin's political career as the president of Russia, he did not take any land during a U.S. president's administration. He took land under Clinton, under Bush, under Obama, and under Biden, but not the Donald.
Yep.
He didn't want to play with that. He didn't want to risk that. And then on top of the clear deterrent effect that Donald Trump had during his first term, as we've talked about many times, one of the key maneuvers at the beginning of the Biden administration that caused the majority of our inflation and ignited the conflict in Ukraine was the closing of the Keystone XL pipeline and the subsequent shunting of the money from that activity to the Nordstrom pipeline, essentially doing two things: sticking a finger in Putin's eye and funding the military apparatus and the military impetus for Putin to invade. Now, all that is on top of this little midget, this little shithead, posturing,
5'3" and an attitude. 5'3" and an attitude. Yeah.
waving his weave at Putin and saying, I dare you to do something. My man got my back. This little welfare queen treating the United States like we're his hired bodyguard.
Well,
right? Unacceptable. And we've been riding that pony for way too long, entirely against our own will. Right?
you have to admit that the Biden administration, and not just that administration, but also the Congress itself, probably gave him a pretty false impression, okay, of what he could command within the United States. And it is his severe political blunder to assume that the same gravy train would have continued under Donald Trump. Zelenskyy has, well, I'll just say it. I have never seen such a spectacular failure of diplomacy in my life. Okay, I have never seen a man fuck up diplomatic action so badly that he threatened to actually destroy his entire country. This guy, I mean, he's got to go at this point. Sorry, Zelenskyy.
Yeah.
You got to be deported. You're done. You might as well I'd say at this point, gift wrap him, okay, encase him in carbonite, and freaking send him to Moscow. All right, as a tribute to Jabba the Putin.
Yeah, Chris. In the in our show thread, I dropped a few things. The very top one should be the tweet from Maj Torre, and Maj just nails it in this tweet. Like, talk about how bad Zelenskyy fucked up. Like, woo! It's difficult to exaggerate. Yes.
Damn, I had it pulled up. I thought I had it pulled up. I did have it pulled up. Okay, I can grab it real quick. Keep talking.
Well, I don't want to put words in Maj Torre's mouth. I thought you'd have this at the ready, but I guess
I did, but you guys dropped enough stuff.
Sorry, I got sidetracked by someone asking for Colin.
Some of the Twitter links have crashed.
Oh goodness, what a bummer.
Oh, it's like that.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well then,
Okay, look, I'm bumping it for you. Here we go.
Sure.
No, I already got it. I got it.
Oh,
I got people pestering me for a call-in number. Is that something we're willing to entertain later, perhaps? Or
that's something we'll do later. That's something we can do later.
Okay, there you go, everyone. You can call in later, not right now.
Those of you who are pestering Mario for a call-in number, the number is my personal number. If you happen to have it, for now. We're not really doing a call-in show, but there's a few of you blessed individuals who can call. You just call my cell phone and I can bring you on from there. But I'm not going to take you right now. I'll let you know when we can bring you in. So just calm your tits, Cade.
Yeah, and if you don't have his number, I'll sell it to you for $50, Cash App and Venmo. I'll post my handles.
Yes, if Mario offers to sell you my number for $50, the appropriate cash tag is hashtag Lowry. No E.
Undercut again.
all right. So
10% for the big guy.
Yes.
Yeah, 100% for the big guy, right?
Oh.
All right.
Okay, so Maj really nails it here. The level of arrogance involved in being dependent on a foreign nation whose leader you campaigned against. Then, in spite of you riding with his opposition, you're still invited to his house to discuss business. Then, instead of playing the game properly, you bring up old shit and attempt to down talk him in front of the world. Lesson: there's always dudes at every level of the game who don't know where their bread is buttered. Don't be those dudes ever.
Yeah.
And
we'll go ahead and give him one more.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I would have preferred to be 999, but you can't have everything. But he
Exactly.
nails it. That's exactly it. So Zelenskyy, like, we're tired. We're tired of funding this gravy train. We're tired of sending him money, which, by the way, by his own admission, more than half of has been skimmed off through some kind of, embezzlement, mismanagement, fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah.
We don't know where that money's gone. All we know is that it was supposed to go to Ukraine, and it didn't.
Well, it went to Ukraine. I'm certain it went somewhere to Ukraine.
He's missing $100 billion of our taxpayer money. This is a minor aside, but I want to put this in perspective. Doge has been uncovering fraud, waste, and abuse all over the place. We know this, right? $500 million there, $100 billion over here, billions here, billions there. Guys, perspective. Any given one of these programs that Doge has uncovered, the Ukraine among them, where there's significant fraud, waste, and abuse, you individually will be taxed your entire life and not have contributed enough money to cover the newest transgender queer Sesame Street for Iraqi orphans.
Yeah. I mean,
well, and let's not forget.
You think you can? Sorry, I just want to real quick. I haven't said anything. If you think you can lose $100 billion and then come back and ask for more money, like, who do you think you are?
Right.
Donald Rumsfeld? Like, no.
Okay, that was worth waiting. That was worth it.
Go ahead.
Absolutely, well done. Very well done.
Well, let's not forget. Okay, one of the things that Maj brought up in his tweet, and this even speaks to the joke you just made, he did support Biden. And he supported Biden because he got whatever he wanted out of Biden. More money, more weapons. And so, yes. Yeah. Part of the reason why Trump was looking to jump his ass is because he was already on thin ice. Like, he got involved in American politics in a way that he should not have, and he picked the wrong side. And the amount of grace that Donald Trump showed by even letting him show up, by even letting him come over, and this whole mineral deal thing, that's been out there in the world for like a week now. And this mineral deal thing has not been solved, has not been signed, and it's the linchpin. So instead, okay, well, look, I tell you what, we'll fly to the White House and we'll talk there. I don't know that I would have allowed Zelenskyy to fly in. I think I
can speak to that.
So I think honestly, the amount of grace that Donald Trump showed him, and then to have him come out and basically be a bitch in front of the TV and like, did he not watch the debate between JD Vance and the knucklehead? Like, what did he think was going to happen when he tried to challenge JD Vance? Like, everything about this was terrible on Zelensky's part.
Did he not watch the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden? Joe Biden showed up for a debate with Donald Trump after the primary process was over, and for the first time in human history, a party fired its candidate over his debate performance. He got smacked down so deeply and devastatingly hard that it ended the presidential campaign of the incumbent president.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
not unlike how Donald Trump just ended the presidential administration of the incumbent president.
Yep. Well, I mean, you got to give Zelenskyy credit. I mean, he had a pretty good grift there, and he milked it for all his worth. Zelensky's relationship with Biden was the equivalent of an Indian scammer convincing an elderly person to go out and buy Google Play cards again and again and again.
That's right. Oh, the next $50 Google Play card will do it. The next $50 Google, yeah.
Sir, please, my daughter needs medicine.
Yes, someone is logging into your computer right now, and in
Yeah.
order to protect you, yes.
They milked his ass until the Alzheimer's got so bad he forgot to log in on his freaking bank account. Yep. But so anyway, as you were saying, what was the deal with Zelensky coming to Washington D.C.? Well, it just so happened that Marco Rubio later that day gave like a 19-minute interview
Yeah,
with
yeah, watched
CNN,
it. Yeah.
and it was an interview with that. It was that. What's that? Caitlin Collins, is that her name? The one who looks like the one who looks like a male to female tranny who's trying to detransition. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't go that far,
Yeah,
but damn,
I
okay.
would. Oh, but I would, and I did. So, anyway, he went on that in that interview. He stated that the mineral deal, okay, and basically all the pretext is to to starting a peace resolution, okay, with Russia. That stuff has already been finalized, okay. There's some pretty tough negotiations by Scott Crescent. I hope I didn't get his name wrong. Our Treasury Secretary, all right, and that was kind of a debacle as well. When Crescent was there in Ukraine, he got into a screaming match, all right, with our Secretary of the Treasury. And if you don't think Donald Trump doesn't notice that, okay, one thing you'll notice, Donald Trump gets freaking rip shit pissed if you disrespect his people, okay. That is one surefire way to piss off the Donald, is to mess with his boys. Okay, you don't do it. Look what Zelensky did with J.D. Vance during that disastrous press conference. Okay, the moment J.D. Vance started criticizing him, and then Zelensky muttered "suka bliat" under his breath. That was it. The Donald was off. Donald's taking him to the laundromat. All right. So anyway, everything was
Did he
already
actually say
decided.
it? Did he actually call him a bitch? I can't tell.
According to certain linguists, I don't know. Whatever. It's just a little nuance, so a little garnish, I guess, on the whole spectacle. You know what I mean? But anyway, the point is, everything was already decided as for the mineral deal, and the point of the mineral deal isn't to continue. Isn't like, in exchange for continuing foreign aid. That is for services already rendered that you owe us. Okay. One thing about Donald Trump's foreign policy that I like is that ain't no one getting nothing for free. All right. But you're going to pay for it or you're going to trade for it. Okay. One or the other. Ain't no more free shit. Good thing. All right. So everything was decided, and Zelensky was supposed to just be there as a formality. All right. To do a sign some documents. All right. Have a little photo op, and then they're going to have a nice state lunch afterwards. Okay. And I also thought it was funny that after he got kicked out, Trump just turned over the state lunch to all the staffers and was like, "Chow down, boys, Golden Corral." Except we got the tiger prawns. Like,
No, well done steak, lots of ketchup.
All right, let's get back
on that one.
Oh man, my hot young wife says Tan Stoffel. If you know, you know. So yeah,
I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden, of thumping our chest and pretending that the president of the United States' words mattered more than the president of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Okay, before Zelensky lights himself on fire, let me explain something to you. We, the United States, are not at war with Russia. That's
Correct.
something that apparently every Democrat and half the Republicans doesn't understand, right? For an ally to be at war with even one of our state enemies is not the same in a very important way to the United States itself actually being at war with another entity, right? The same thing's true in Israel and Gaza. That situation, Israel is a political ally. They're at war with Gaza. That does not mean that we are at war with Gaza, and that's an important distinction. One incredibly important piece of that distinction is if the United States is actually at war with you, you're not moving forward. You're not making gains. You're not taking ground. That's not an option. If the United States is at war with you, you're dying in your beds in the dark of night. That's what we do. We come crashing through your fucking walls because we're not interested in the booby traps you left on the known doorways, and we eat your fucking lunch. I've seen me do it. I even say, "Oh yeah," as I'm coming through the wall because, son, you're finished. Because when the American military starts moving forward on you, they are sexually excited to engage in your total and complete destruction. And as the Sergeant Major likes to say, war is won when and only when boots hold ground and destroy everything that approaches that position. It really is that simple. So if the U.S. goes to war with you, that's how it happens. We are not at war with with Russia. The Ukraine is, and it's a war largely of their own making. We're going to get into that a little more as we go forward, but that needs to be very clear.
Two things. That may have been the case during the global war on terror with counterinsurgency. Okay, unconventional warfare. How that would work out in actual conventional warfare with large maneuvers. Okay, that is unknown at this point, and that's what I fear most about the United States getting into a war with a conventional, whether peer or near peer power. Okay, the ability for shit to go south quick, it's a lot more devastating. All right, look at what's happened in the Ukraine war. We're talking divisions getting wiped out in several hours.
Yes,
the type of destruction and casualties that we haven't seen in the West since the trenches. Okay, since the Battle of the Somme in World War I. All right. And now with the addition of FPV drone warfare, it's even more deadly. There's literally nowhere to hide on the battlefield anymore. Okay,
that's correct.
It is a fucking meat grinder. So that's what we have to avoid. And I don't think I don't think the chicken hawks, okay, in the Republican and Democrat Party, or the wishful thinkers within the NATO and EU bureaucracy really understand that. Okay. In fact, I think these people are psychotic. In fact, I think Donald Trump, for as much as people call him unhinged, is the only reasonable person right now on the global stage. What is Trump's goal in these negotiations? He's made it pretty clear. He's not taking sides with Russia. He's not taking sides with Ukraine. He's taking sides with global peace and global security, and dare I say, humanity. He wants an end to the killing, just like I do, because he's tired of seeing young and middle-aged European men slaughter themselves on a battlefield over yards and over yards of ground at a time. It's disgusting, right. And it shouldn't have happened.
For a war that can't be won. And I'll point out,
it can be won, but empirically, it can only be a Pyrrhic victory for anyone. Whoever wins will be devastated. Okay, bottom line.
Right, but and I'll even say
the winner is devastated and the loser is exterminated. Yeah. You end up with Absolutely. 2 dead countries. Yeah,
yeah,
precisely.
Well, the problem is we kind of are at war with Russia because we've been funding the people that are at war with them, and that's a problem.
There's a huge difference.
I know there's a huge difference. Look, I know there's a difference. But
I'll give you a historical comparison. Okay, what we're looking at right now is since basically the end of the global war on terror, 20 years of brutal beatdown, but poor leadership, poor mission objectives, etc. I'm not going to get involved in it. We're now in a paradigm where it's like in the 19th century, where the United Kingdom and Russia played what was called the Great Game. Okay, where it's proxy wars. My proxies against your proxies. Sometimes there's direct involvement, but usually we're just sending money, weapons, and supplies, and we're having the little guys do our fight for us. And it's like a chess match between the United Kingdom and Russia, which culminated in the Crimean War, which saw the total humiliation of Russia. Okay. But yeah, that's what we're looking at now. It's the great game is what the neocons have got us back into with Russia. All right. And I'm sure they'd love to with China, but China China's strategy is you're all basically infighting and destroying each other. We're just going to sit here and do nothing and wait and see who wins, and then we will make our move. But
now, you said a minute ago, Mario, and you're not wrong. As far as if the U.S. were to engage with a peer or near peer military force, it is a new battlefield. Like when I was in Afghanistan, we were working with drones, but these things were like a trash can full of weed eaters. You heard it coming from a mile away. They were big and bulky, and they returned low resolution, grainy black and white footage. Guys, I've got drones in my personal fleet now that whoop the dog shit out of the multi-million-dollar drones I was hunting terrorists with 15 years ago. That I tell you, I say it jokingly often, but I really do mean it. If I had just like a DJI Mavic 2 in Afghanistan, we would be out of terrorists, right? The difference in capability is hard to overstate. But the pushback, one of the things that we have learned from the results and the activities of the Russo-Ukraine conflict is that Russia is not a peer military force. They're just not. And even if they were at the beginning of this conflict, they no longer are.
Russia, no, I give them more credit than you do, okay? Russia is very creative in how they conduct war, okay? Russia doesn't care. Basically, Russia is not fixated on their doctrines anymore like they were in the Soviet days, okay? They will take, they'll take different approaches, like, for example, cavalry. They brought back cavalry with having guys on dirt bikes doing scouts. The FPV drones, they immediately adopted that, and they had some foreign partners helping them with inexpensive tech. All right,
China,
the ability, well, Iran actually, and Pakistan. So, and
right.
also
just like how China supplied the Mujahideen with AK-47s.
Right. I don't. Did they? I don't think that was us.
No, we did.
I know,
but we sent them through China. Charlie Wilson bought them from China and sent them to Afghanistan to the Mujahideen to shoot down Russian Hind helicopters with U.S. dollars so that he could keep it black budgeted and pretend like we weren't funding the Afghani insurgency in the 1980s.
It's proxy warfare. Even my proxies are proxies. Okay, yes, that's how it works. All right, and also just giving the field commanders the authority to modify their armored vehicles to make them more, better defenses against the FPV drones. Okay, so
yeah, nothing like a stack of phone books in the driver's side door.
And also, and Russia's the Z assault teams. Okay, like squad-based combat, sending guys in to create a foothold. And then basically the larger vehicle, the larger movement follows in behind them. Okay, Russia's done a lot of interesting things in this war, and they learned real fucking quick. All right, so I do give them credit. The Ukrainians also fought valiantly, but mostly they were fighting with our equipment. And once too much of that equipment got trashed, they're pretty much were neutered after that. Not to mention they sacrificed the entire Generation X and millennial generation of their young men, or at least the ones who couldn't afford a bribe to avoid the conscription, or the ones who fled to safer countries. All right, so.
And I'm glad you mentioned that the Ukraine's fighting this war with American military equipment. Let me take you in the Wayback Machine to when Obama was in office, and he sent them blankets and food aid, but he refused to send them the weapons that he kept demanding.
That's my presentation. We're going to get there.
Okay.
All right.
But just since we're on it, let me tag it real quick. Obama was asked why he would not send American military hardware to the Ukraine, and he said, because they might use it. No shit. Cameron, do you want to throw in something else before we go back to the video for a minute?
Video.
Okay, so guys, take just a minute. I see right now by the numbers, most of you are actually watching on YouTube. Go over to Rumble and pick us up there. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you're following us on Rumble, because in about 20 minutes here, we're going to go to Rumble exclusive. We're going to go to Rumble Premium only. So if you're not already signed up to Rumble Premium, I'm going to kick you out in 20 minutes. And that way Mario can talk about the Jews.
Well, maybe that's like the last. Look at that face. Look at that face. That's when you know.
Yeah, this
That's
was
when you
the
know.
moment when this was the moment when
This is
Donnie
the
Two
moment.
Scoops knew this
Yeah,
this idiot is about to stick his foot up his own ass to get his shoe into his mouth.
It was at that moment he knew he had fucked up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied
Okay,
it.
wait. Look at that smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. So he
Who are you?
occupied it.
Who are you, little man?
Our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed.
Nobody stopped him. Nobody stopped him. Do y'all remember the story of young Miss I think it was Angelina Brown?
Nope.
Remember that one? 16 kids living in a hotel room, and she got in front of that news camera
Who's going to feed
talking
my
about getting
kids?
Obama in office.
Somebody got to
Yo.
feed my kids.
And she said, y'all got to stand up for your responsibilities because somebody got to feed all my babies.
Like, close your legs.
Wait. Who's got to stand up and handle their responsibilities? I'm sorry, what?
It's not quite as simple as
Zelenskyy. Nobody stopped him. Nobody stopped him. What were you doing? Where were you?
Well,
Now, in fairness, he's talking about 2014, 2015. So in all fairness to Zelenskyy, he was still playing a piano with his pecker.
Yeah. What was Ukraine doing? Ukraine was financing paramilitary organizations to terrorize Russian speakers in the Donbas region is what he was doing. He acts like it was entirely unprovoked, okay? He acts like Russia just woke up one day and said, fuck it, we're going back to USSR again. We're rolling in. No, it wasn't quite like that. There were plenty of provocations and atrocities that took place by Ukrainian hands, okay, against Russian speakers in the Donbas region that led up to this, okay? And now he's going to talk next about Russia breaking the Minsk Accords, okay, multiple times. Well, so did you, fuck boy, okay? So don't act like you're innocent. You're not.
Yeah, and like Mario said, we're going to get to the history lesson a bit in a minute, but I want to dispel you of that completely false notion that Putin is just an evil warmonger that's trying to grab up a bunch of land. The fact is, Putin, all fairness, Putin misses the USSR. He misses the Soviet Union. He wants to reacquire the parts of the prior Soviet Union that were lost. He wants to rebuild it, right? But he knows that militarily he does not have that actual capability to do it in one large military operation. But at the same time, what's been going on in Ukraine for years now is that Ukraine especially Zelenskyy, keeps threatening to join NATO. And now for Putin, and Putin is not misreading this situation. For Zelenskyy to join NATO is politically identical to the Ukraine becoming the 51st of the United States. It has the same socio-political and military strategic significance as if we were to go ahead and take Ukraine as the 51st state, because it means that any interaction with Ukraine automatically includes NATO, UN, and the United States. And that is scary as shit. Even if it's only scary to him because he's an evil dictator, the fact is, Zelenskyy is the one that keeps waving that at him and trying to make it scary. And at the same time, he doesn't want to join because he doesn't want to pay the bills. Zelenskyy is all about a free ride. He's a welfare queen. He's like every other communist out there. He sees somebody having a good time, living a good life, and he doesn't want to do what it takes to participate with them. He wants to murder them and take it from them. Yeah. He doesn't even care if he gets the good life out of it. He'll be happy if he can just murder them and prevent them from continuing to live it.
I don't know what Zelensky's motivations are. Okay, the idea from the Trump administration is that Ukraine will be a neutral zone. The idea from the Russians is that Ukraine, at least Western Ukraine, will be a neutral zone. He stands to gain a lot of money, basically currying favors back and forth between both sides if he were to play his cards right. But he doesn't have any cards. So, speaking of that, let's go back to that video. Let's let it run for a solid 3 minutes this time.
Signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay. Everything that Vance was just saying about the respectful piece. So let's talk a little bit about what just happened here. They made a deal. They had a deal planned, ready to go.
Exactly.
And Mario mentioned earlier this.
Yeah, let me help you out with that. Okay, so they already had there's already a framework in place. Okay,
right,
for the
just
minerals.
Mario, you mentioned this. You mentioned this video. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to say, here's the video. This is Marco Rubio talking about what we're about to discuss. There's the link in the chat for you guys, so y'all can go check that out later. It's worth a watch, but it's 20 minutes, so we're not gonna dig into that. But yeah, Mario, go. They had a deal.
Right, so there's already a deal set up, not just for the minerals, okay, but for a larger framework for peace, all right? And then, so this is all supposed to be a formality, and you can see the look on Trump's face, okay, as this guy starts trying to freaking, do his parcel tongue fucking weasel words, okay, while he's sitting there trying to renegotiate things in front of the press, which he knows are on his side, of course, all right, with the president and the United States, with the president and the vice president, okay? Furthermore, he clearly thought that vice president, he thought that J.D. Vance was something of a lightweight, so he treated him dismissively, all right? And that is going to backfire on him massively in a few seconds.
Yes. So basically what you're seeing here is that Zelenskyy has come into the White House and decided, you know what? I'm going to try and embarrass Trump and Vance and put them on the spot and force them to change the deal in my favor.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to come in and throw some weight around and bully them. Zelenskyy doesn't seem to understand. There are only 3 options. His country is wiped out by the Russians. Putin voluntarily stops, or the U.S. stops Putin with a deal. Because the only other way it stops is the U.S. steps in and uses military force to stop Putin. We could absolutely step in with military force and shut it down, but like we have the capability to do that. But that is a political nightmare, because now you're talking about American boots on the ground, blood on foreign soil without a profit margin, a waste of our lives and more of our tax money, with the added geopolitical threat of igniting conflict with China and North Korea, and then the Middle East seeing that we're divided and strategically vulnerable to additional conflict. And it sends a signal to all of our allies that they have the authority on our behalf to set our foreign policy, and as a direct result, to affect our domestic policy and our military deployment strategy. And that cannot be allowed.
So it's not going to happen.
No, it's not. But that's the only America putting boots on the ground and putting red American blood on the soil to put American boots to commie ass is the only other solution that isn't either Putin wipes them out, or you make a deal, right? Without American boots on the ground, it's Putin's game.
Sure. First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you. But you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
And there you go. Okay.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good. We're going to feel very good and very.
So what Zelenskyy just said there, you're going to feel it. You don't feel the war right now, but you're going to feel it.
Yeah,
he made a threat.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether he meant to or not.
No, he meant to. He meant to. That's it's the nice shop you got here. You don't even have to say be a shame if anything were to happen to it.
Yep.
Right. He knew what he was doing. And more importantly, Donald Trump immediately knew what he was doing.
I don't know that I would categorize it as a threat, not an intentional one anyway. Say what?
It was 100% an intentional threat.
Oh, well, fuck it then.
I mean, make the case, but no, that's a threat. He knew what he was doing there.
It's passive. It's passive threat, but yeah, I got you. All right. Let's either finish this dude up or let's skip it.
We got
strong.
2 more minutes.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Who's trying to save your country?
Yeah, that's the point.
What's the last thing you remember hearing out of the Biden administration about a path forward to a peaceful resolution to hostilities in Ukraine. Nothing. The entire strategy was just dump money in there until they run out of bodies to murder.
Yep. They're running on the copium that Russia would just withdraw if it got bloody enough. But they clearly are not students of history and clearly don't understand like that unique character, that unique aspect of the Russian soul. Okay, which is
right.
They'll fight to the end. Okay,
the Chinese and the Vietnamese are famous for using. The Chinese and the Vietnamese are most famous for using the human wave tactic, but let's be clear. That is an old standby for every communist regime, right? Anytime you got commies up there, leftists up there, or remember Hillary Clinton, it takes a village. Remember Michelle Obama? They're all our children, right? These communists, they don't believe in individuals, right? They are bugs. They're insects. They're hive mind, and they will run the entire colony up your ass until the last bug is dead, just so that a queen can lay eggs in the new corpse.
Well, and the history's part of the problem. Like the conflict over this region didn't just start a couple of years ago. It didn't even just start a couple of decades ago. Like this has been a thing that's been going on for centuries. Like this region of the world has had some form of tribal warfare basically since forever. And to think because there's lines on a map and Zelenskyy happens to be in charge of one of those arbitrary lines, suddenly it's this whole different thing. Like there are people in Ukraine that are old enough to remember when there was a USSR. They don't think of themselves as Ukrainians. They think of themselves as Russians. Like this is actually a really
in the East, that is very much the case.
Yeah, this is actually an incredibly complex issue.
It is,
and they're being governed by a country that is pretty corrupt and functions like a cartel or a mafia. So they have no loyalty. They're just caught in the middle. So to act like, oh well, we tried a ceasefire in 2014 when, by the way, Obama was president, not Donald Trump, as Donald Trump was quick to point out. But that's not the first time peace broke down in this part of the world, and it probably won't be the last time either. So anyhow, just
the Russian state. Okay, the Russian state, if you want to call it, at least the not the original one, but the second one. Okay, that one was founded in Muscovy. Okay, and basically in Moscow, right? And that nation was born as a result of the survivors, the last survivors of the Slavic and Nordic peoples in those regions who were genocided by the Mongols, utterly genocided. All right. So when you talk about the Russian soul, you have to understand these people have been genocided before. They're not scared. They're not scared of casualties. They believe that they can, that Holy Russia, that Mother Russia, will rebear her sons and daughters, and then they will retake the steppes. Okay, one day. They think long term. Okay. Long view of history, as opposed to Western Europe and the United States, which is that short view of history. And Western Europe got that short view of history mentality, unfortunately, from us and from our media. All right. So let's finish up this rat. I'll do my slides.
Okay, let's. So here's what I want to do, guys. We're gonna finish this. We're gonna finish up the video here, and then before we go to Mario's history lesson, we're going to switch over to Rumble Premium. When we do that, right at the end, before I actually switch it over to the Premium, I'm going to run the Kingmaker, little 3-minute short film that we made a few years ago. It's where that shot of Cameron is bleeding from the face, so that the three of us can take a piss break, take a smoke break, get a cup of coffee, whatever we need to do, and we'll be back with you, shortly after that. So here's the rest of that. And the Donald rightly was having none of this.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment.
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about Vance?
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a
Maybe
very hard
less.
thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of
accept
times
that there,
thank you
accept
to
that-
American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long.
You have no power here.
You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
Thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are
I
dying.
can tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers. Listen,
We've been alone. No, you haven't.
Reddit has your back.
Fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. Like, golly, JD knew he was throwing a haymaker right there.
Why aren't you winning, Zelensky? 30 million white women have Ukrainian flags on their Facebook profile. Why aren't you winning?
I've seen it on Facebook. I stand with Ukraine.
I stand with Ukraine. Yeah, how many yard signs? Come on, Zelensky.
Yeah, and
Be like Russia. I mean, at least BLM was able to burn down a few cities, like
right.
with their yard signs. We gave you all these yard signs, but come on.
And all the Reddit, you got all the Democrats and some Republicans and all this virtue signaling. We stand with Ukraine. We stand with democracy. We're defending democracy. You got Keir Starmer. You got the Canadians. You got all the foreign or European powers. Well, we stand with Ukraine. Where? What, did you write a check?
Ukraine.
Where's your money? Where's your soldiers? You're doing the extent to which they stand with Ukraine is they expect America to foot the bill like we do for literally everything else, right? And part of that line is we stand with Ukraine. Because Ukraine is a free country and we stand up. We believe in. We will defend democracy. Okay, thing one, bullshit. You're doing nothing to defend democracy. And thing two, let me throw this at you real quick. Listen to what he has to say.
Americans vote for American president.
Right? So Lindsey Graham, not a big fan, but Graham called for Zelensky to step down, said Zelensky needs to walk away. Right? Forget about the fact that the Ukrainian parliament is already calling an emergency session to impeach Zelensky over this absolute shit show. We've got American politicians not just saying, Graham's doing right here. He needs to step down. But listen to what Zelensky has to say when he's asked about it.
Each European country vote for their president and only Ukrainian. With all respect to Lindsay, if I can say Lindsay, we know each other. Yes, and only Ukrainians.
Democrats
vote
have had
for their president.
Hang on.
Yes.
Yeah. He said only Ukrainians get to vote for the Ukrainian president. Bitch,
In what
you
election?
Suspended the elections.
They've actually overturned multiple elections since independence in the 90s, which is part of the reason they're here. But here we go. I mean, talking about Lindsey Graham, right? If Lindsey Graham has basically washed his hands of Ukraine, that's really devastating. Okay,
Yes.
because Lindsey Graham and his butt buddy John McCain were in Ukraine as early as 2014, cheerleading them, basically militarizing, forming paramilitary groups. All right, and trying to pick a fight with the Ruskies. Okay, because Lindsey McCain and psychopaths like him are trapped in a Cold War mentality that they seemingly cannot escape. All right. Lindsey never saw a war he didn't like. Lindsey never hesitated to send anyone else's sons and daughters to die. Okay. And the fact that he's out, that means that pretty much the neocon base, all right, filling out those DC think tanks, all right, conservative think tanks that are probably not getting any money anymore from USAID. Yeah, that means they're done. You lost, fucker.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, part of the little break we're about to take here is I got to recharge this mouse. So let me real quick. Okay, come on now. Oh. Okay.
Aaron Olson, actually on that point, yes. Immediately after that disaster, that bamboozle of a press conference. All right, that worst diplomacy I've seen in my entire life. Okay, immediately after that, the Ukrainian parliament held a session where they were talking about filing articles of impeachment against Zelenskyy because he's literally gonna get their entire nation destroyed if they don't rein this guy in. All right, or I don't know, was he coked up during that press conference? I don't, probably.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's movement underway within Ukraine's parliament to impeach him. They're probably going to replace him with the the current Ukrainian diplomat ambassador to the United Kingdom. Okay, I forgot his name, but has the most popularity in the country amongst the people after him, and he's not a psychopath. He's willing to deal, and I really think that Donald Trump, and putting them there, whether he meant to do it or not, whether it was 4D chess or the Dons just got that magic Midas touch, okay, letting Zelenskyy self-immolate there in front of that press conference kind of made it a whole lot easier to get rid of him, so we can get a guy in place who we can actually negotiate with, right? So, hey, anyway.
Well, they don't even have to negotiate. They just have to sign the mineral deal. Like, what's crazy about, okay, you want to
Russia, I mean.
Well, but the point he was trying to make is we need some kind of security. We need a guarantee that Putin just won't go back on his word. And the mineral deal is that. That was part of the point of it's not just the transactional nature of how Donald Trump looks at foreign policy. It's the fact that, okay, you guys want to be a cartel nation and you want to sell access to oil and energy and you want to basically control this super important piece of the map. Okay, fine. We'll play your game. You got to give us a cut of those minerals. However, in return, once we have a cut of those minerals, now we have an interest to defend our cut of those minerals. And see, everybody wins. And but no, he won't sign the deal. That's part of what was going on here. He could have had everything he said he was asking for if he agreed to the mineral deal. You talked about earlier where you don't know what his motivations are. I don't know what his motivations are because unless he had to have known he's not going to continue to get billions of dollars in foreign aid. Like the path to victory here was the mineral deal, and yet he walked away from it.
The fact that he chose to wipe his ass with the mineral deal on air signals to me that his motivation is he doesn't want the free money spigot shut off.
Correct.
But there's no more free money.
He didn't understands that now, but he didn't understand and believe that when he walked into the Oval Office. He thought that there was still a path to eternal free money, and just wait. All I've got to do is dump all my young men into the wood chipper, and the wood chipper will just print money. He's all for it. Because he's a communist. That's what communists do. They murder young men to print money.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, yeah, well, that's, yeah, okay.
Well, I think what you're going to see is Zelenskyy is going to I think he's still hanging out in D.C. Maybe like Donnie, please, Donnie, please let me back in. Okay, but he's
I
gonna
am
he's gonna
very
go
sorry.
he's gonna go back to Ukraine, and if by some miracle he isn't shot on the way, he's gonna double down. He's gonna double down on his grift in the European Union. Okay, he'll triple down that shit. Play like Kane was talking about earlier. Cue the "In the Arms of the Angels" song. Okay,
Yeah.
pictures of sad puppies, pictures of
Oh,
sad
yeah.
kitties. Okay, give me more money. I am so poor. I need help. Please, I am democracy. I am the democracy. Like Dr. Fauci, I am the science. Zelenskyy, I am the democracy. All right.
Right.
So
It's
yeah,
Wag. You're watching Wag the dog.
yeah.
It's
All good
you're watching
things.
Wag the dog
Brilliant.
2, Wag the Dog 2, the Slavo-Ukraine Boogaloo. It's it would be. I would not be surprised to hear a person say they didn't believe there was actually a conflict going on there, because there's so much Wag the dog in this.
Oh my God! Look, I'm gonna read the comment because it's actually pretty damn
Oh,
funny.
stop! Don't feed the troll. Come on.
What do you call 3 Republicans in one place? A terror cell. That's funny.
I recommend you go. I recommend you go and read a little book called "The Moon Is a Harsh Mistress." But I suspect that if you believe that Republicans are terrorists, it might be a little above your reading letter.
Hey, all good things, and good time. Look, maybe it's not the show for you. Hassan Piker's down the hall to the left. Okay, maybe you'd be happier there.
Way to the left. Okay, guys. Well, as promised, I'm going to switch us over. I'm going to let it run on YouTube for just a little bit longer while we run. What the hell is going on with my mouse?
Hamas Piker.
I think I'm going to do something.
Bear with us, everyone. This is the very first time transitioning from YouTube to Rumble. Okay, so this is new for us. All right,
you shit right up your own nose. Okay, boys, go ahead and cut your cameras and your mics, and I'm gonna play that beautiful film. This is a little short film that Cameron and I made 5 years ago. Whew. Whew. War is in the air we breathe. Poets try to bury it in words. Hippies try to tie it up in guitar strings. And politicians talk and talk and talk.
It's all in the file. It's all in the file. Don't think.
They'll never know about worse things than dying.
You need me. You need me.
Hemingway said, once a man has hunted armed men and found that he has a taste for it, nothing else will ever satisfy him. The hunt is everything. It's everything that a man needs to drive on, but it is not the only thing. It's not the thing that calls him back. It's the long haul to the next post. No one is safe until we all are. It's the sheer, brutal, and glorious reality of it. When you're back here in the lie of civility, all the glass towers and niceties, all the pretty people that don't want to fight, they live in the fantasy of civilization.
Scandal breaking. Incumbent Senator Kinder von Stuppen is now under scrutiny after multiple allegations of pedophilia, apparently dating back decades. While Stuppen denies the allegations, opponent frontrunner Joseph January the young upstart that has warmed all of our hearts, has already seen a massive leap forward in polling numbers for next Tuesday's election.
Never understanding how fast it can all switch off if too many of them stop. If they stop pretending for the narrowest sliver of a second.
This is 911. What is your emergency?
There's someone in my house. I need the police.
Don't open the box.
Wars everywhere.
What do you know about the Kingmaker?
In 1 hour, rapper Jack Harlow.
Okay. Oh, Be Controversial is asking what's in the box.
You know what? I'll tell
Gwyneth
you.
Paltrow's head.
Okay, we are going to premium exclusive now. So here we go.